The Galactic Empire had ruled the stars for thousands of years. They controlled hundreds of planets, and no one ever dared to stand against them. When the Empire sent a demand, everyone knew they had to obey. One day, that demand came to Earth. A massive spaceship from the Empire appeared in Earth's skies. Its size was like nothing the people of Earth had ever seen. It hovered above the atmosphere, casting a shadow over entire cities. The people below watched in awe and fear as the ship sent out a message. It was a simple but terrifying demand. Earth had to pay tribute. The message was broadcast across all nations in every language. People of Earth, the voice boomed, cold and powerful. The Galactic Empire has come. You are required to pay tribute to us. We demand resources, technology, and slaves. Failure to comply will result in your destruction. You have 1 week to respond. The leaders of Earth were stunned. They had known there were other civilizations in the galaxy, but they had never imagined being targeted by such a powerful force. The Galactic Empire was known for crushing any planet that resisted. Stories of planets being wiped out, their people enslaved or killed, spread fear across Earth. The world's governments gathered in a special meeting, trying to figure out what to do. The room was filled with tension. Leaders from every country argued, their voices rising in fear and anger. Some wanted to surrender immediately, saying that Earth had no chance against such a powerful enemy. "We are outmatched," one of them said. "If we fight back, we will be destroyed." Others, however, believed that surrendering would mean the end of humanity's freedom. "If we give in," another leader argued, "we will be nothing more than slaves. They will take everything from us. Is that how we want to live?" As the debate raged on, a scientist stepped forward. His name was Dr. Alan Pierce, and he had been working on a secret project for years. He had been preparing for this very moment, though no one knew about it yet. "We do have a chance," he said, silencing the room. "We have been developing advanced weapons in secret, weapons that could surprise the Empire. If we fight, we might win." The leaders stared at him, shocked by his words. "What do you mean?" one asked. "We've never heard of these weapons." Dr. Pierce explained how, for the last decade, a group of scientists had been working on new technologies. These weapons were far more powerful than anything Earth had used before. They had been kept secret to avoid panic, but now was the time to reveal them. The leaders listened carefully, their fear slowly turning into hope. They realized that Earth might have a chance after all. "We can't let them think we're weak," one of the leaders said firmly. "If we give in now, the Empire will think they can take anything they want from us. But if we show them that Earth is strong, maybe they will think twice before attacking." The decision was made. Earth would not surrender. They would fight. In the following days, preparations began. The scientists and military worked together to activate the new weapons systems, which had been hidden in underground bunkers around the world. These weapons were designed to be a surprise, capable of striking with deadly precision. Meanwhile, the people of Earth watched the skies, knowing that a great battle was coming. Fear hung in the air, but so did a sense of determination. Humanity had always fought for its survival, and this time would be no different. As the 1-week deadline approached, the Galactic Empire waited for Earth's response. They believed Earth would submit without question. After all, no planet had ever resisted the Empire and survived. But Earth had made its choice. They would not pay tribute. They would not surrender. Instead, they would prepare for a devastating fight. As the 1-week deadline from the Galactic Empire drew closer, the pressure on Earth's leaders grew stronger. The demand was simple: pay tribute or face destruction. The people of Earth were afraid, not knowing what their leaders would decide. The image of the Empire's massive spaceship still loomed in their minds, a reminder of the power they were up against. In secret, the leaders of Earth gathered again in the same secure room where they had met before. This time, there was no arguing. The decision had already been made. But now they had to decide how to communicate that decision to the Empire. President James Carter, the leader of one of the most powerful nations on Earth, stood at the head of the table. His face was serious, but there was also a spark of determination in his eyes. "We've discussed this long enough," he said, looking around at the other leaders. "We all agree. We are not going to surrender to the Empire." The others nodded. There was no turning back now. The choice was clear. Earth would fight. But simply deciding not to pay tribute wasn't enough. They needed to think about how to respond in a way that would send a clear message to the Empire. Would silence show strength, or would it look like fear? Should they send a direct message or launch a surprise attack right away? The leaders weighed their options carefully. "We need to be smart about this," said Prime Minister Ada Kim, another key figure in the meeting. "If we appear too aggressive, they might attack us without warning. But if we don't show any strength, they'll think we're afraid and crush us without hesitation." The room fell silent for a moment, as everyone considered her words. Then, Dr. Alan Pierce, the scientist who had revealed Earth's secret weapons project, spoke up again. "We don't need to wait for them to strike first. We can send a message by showing them that Earth is not defenseless. If they see what we're capable of, maybe they'll think twice before attacking." Everyone agreed. Earth needed to show the Empire that they were not weak, but they also had to be careful not to provoke an all-out war just yet. They had to find the balance between strength and strategy. The leaders decided on a plan. They would send a simple message back to the Empire, a message that would make Earth's position clear. But at the same time, they would prepare for the worst. The new weapon systems, hidden deep underground, would be activated and ready to fire if the Empire made a move. The message was written carefully. It was short and direct, but it carried a strong message of defiance. "To the leaders of the Galactic Empire, Earth will not pay tribute. We will not bow to threats or demands. We are ready to defend our planet." The message was sent through the same channel the Empire had used. Now, all they could do was wait. The Galactic Empire had never faced such resistance from a small, seemingly insignificant planet. The leaders of Earth knew that this bold stand might bring destruction, but they also knew that surrender would mean the end of humanity's freedom. While the leaders worked behind the scenes, the people of Earth continued with their daily lives, but with a growing sense of dread. They knew something big was about to happen. News of the Empire's demand had spread quickly, and people across the world prepared for the worst. Schools closed, businesses shut down, and many families retreated into bunkers, fearing the Empire's retaliation. But there was also a sense of pride. For the first time, humanity was standing up to a force far beyond its own power. No one knew what the future held, but there was hope in the air. The people of Earth trusted their leaders and their military, believing that somehow they would find a way to survive. In the days leading up to the Empire's expected response, Earth's military forces were on high alert. Fighter jets patrolled the skies, submarines prepared to launch missiles from the oceans, and space defense systems were activated. The planet was more united than ever before. As the week ended and the Galactic Empire received Earth's reply, the clock began ticking. Would the Empire crush them, or would Earth's bold refusal make them think twice? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain. Earth had said no. When the Galactic Empire received Earth's message, their leaders could hardly believe it. The humans had refused their demand. They had dared to say no to the most powerful force in the galaxy. For a moment, there was silence in the Empire's Grand Council chamber as they processed what had happened. High Commander Zorak, the leader of the Empire's military forces, was the first to speak. His voice was full of arrogance as he laughed at Earth's defiance. "These humans think they can resist us," he sneered, leaning back in his throne. "They are a primitive species, living on a backwater planet. They must have a death wish." The other council members joined in the laughter. To them, Earth was nothing more than a small, insignificant world, hardly worth their attention. The idea that humans could stand up to the might of the Galactic Empire seemed like a joke. They had conquered planets much more advanced than Earth, with armies and technology far beyond what humans could even dream of. And yet, Earth had refused to pay tribute. "They must be bluffing," said Lord Draz, one of the Empire's senior advisors. "There is no way they can fight us. They are likely hoping we will leave them alone if they show a little resistance." The Council nodded in agreement. To them, Earth's refusal was nothing more than a desperate attempt to look strong. The Galactic Empire had seen this before, weaker planets trying to pretend they were tougher than they really were, only to be crushed by the Empire's overwhelming force. Earth, they believed, was no different. "Should we crush them now?" asked one of the military officers. "Send a fleet, wipe them out, and take what we want." High Commander Zorek shook his head. "There is no need to waste our resources on such a weak planet. Let them have their moment of false pride. We will strike when we are ready, and when we do, Earth will fall quickly. They will learn what happens when you defy the Empire." Zorek's confidence was shared by all in the room. After all, no one had ever defeated the Galactic Empire. They had conquered hundreds of worlds, enslaved countless species, and built an empire that stretched across the galaxy. The idea that a small planet like Earth could pose any threat was simply laughable to them. As the Council continued their discussion, they decided to let Earth's message go unanswered for the time being. They saw no need to rush. In their eyes, Earth's defiance would soon turn to fear once the Empire's fleet returned. The humans would see the true power of the Empire, and they would beg for mercy. But by then, it would be too late. "We'll show them who they are dealing with," Zorek said with a cruel smile. "When we return, they will regret ever standing against us." Meanwhile, back on Earth, the leaders and people waited for the Empire's response. Days passed with no word from the invaders, and some began to wonder if their bold stand had worked. Had the Empire backed down? Had they scared them off? The silence from the Empire gave many on Earth a sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, the worst was over. But Dr. Alan Pierce, the scientist leading Earth's secret defense project, wasn't so sure. He had studied the Galactic Empire's history and knew they weren't the type to back down so easily. "They think we're weak," he said to President Carter during one of their meetings. "That's why they haven't responded. They think they can crush us whenever they want, so they're in no rush." President Carter nodded, understanding the situation. "So, they're underestimating us." "Exactly," Dr. Pierce replied. "They don't know about the weapons we've been developing. They think we're still a primitive planet with no chance of fighting back. That's going to be their biggest mistake." While the Empire viewed Earth as weak and unworthy of immediate attention, Earth continued its preparations. The secret weapons were ready, hidden away in underground bunkers, just waiting for the right moment to be unleashed. Earth's leaders knew the Empire's attack was coming. It was only a matter of time. And when that time came, Earth would be ready to prove the Empire wrong. For now, though, the Galactic Empire remained overconfident. They believed that Earth was weak, a tiny planet that would be crushed like so many before it. Little did they know that this small planet was about to give them the biggest surprise of their reign. Earth had been silent for weeks, while the Galactic Empire waited, confident in their eventual victory. Earth's leaders were preparing for something unexpected. The decision had been made. They wouldn't wait for the Empire to attack. Instead, Earth would strike first. The Galactic Empire had no idea what was coming. In secret underground bases, Earth's military leaders gathered with Dr. Alan Pierce. They had been working day and night on the final preparations for their secret weapon, a new missile system unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. This weapon had been developed in secret, hidden from the rest of the galaxy, and now it was ready for action. "We've studied the Empire's fleet," Dr. Pierce explained to the gathered leaders. "Their shields are strong, but they have a weakness. These missiles are designed to bypass their defenses. If we strike hard and fast, we can take out a large part of their fleet before they even know what hit them." President Carter looked around the room at his fellow leaders. The decision was risky, But they knew they had no choice. The Empire had already made their intentions clear. Earth would either submit or be destroyed. If they waited, the Empire's full force would arrive, and the battle would be much harder to win. A surprise attack might be their only chance to survive. "We strike tomorrow," President Carter said firmly. "No more waiting. We hit them where it hurts." As the final preparations were made, Earth's military readied itself for the most important operation in human history. In the dark silence of space, Earth's fleet gathered, waiting for the command to launch. The target, the Empire's nearest fleet, a massive collection of ships stationed at a base just outside Earth's solar system. The Empire had stationed this fleet there, thinking it would be enough to scare Earth into submission. They were wrong. At exactly midnight, Earth's forces moved. A series of high-speed missiles launched from hidden silos all over the planet. These were not ordinary weapons. They had been designed to be undetectable, fast, and powerful enough to punch through the Empire's shields. The missiles streaked across space, closing in on the Empire's fleet before anyone realized what was happening. On board the Empire's ships, alarms blared, but it was too late. The first missile hit one of the Empire's largest battleships, tearing through its shields and causing a massive explosion. The ship was destroyed instantly, sending shockwaves through the fleet. One by one, the missiles found their targets. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as ship after ship was hit. The Empire's once mighty fleet was now in chaos. Some of the smaller ships tried to escape, but Earth's missiles were too fast. In just minutes, the fleet was crippled, with many of its ships destroyed or heavily damaged. Back on Earth, the leaders watched the attack unfold on their screens. For the first time in weeks, they allowed themselves to feel a sense of victory. They had done it. Earth had struck first, and they had hit the Empire hard. But the celebration was short-lived. Everyone knew this wasn't the end. The Empire wouldn't let this attack go unanswered. "We've bought ourselves some time," President Carter said, his voice serious. "But now, the real fight begins." In space, the remains of the Empire's fleet struggled to regroup. High Commander Zorak, who had been watching from a distance, was furious. He had underestimated Earth. He had thought them weak, too afraid to strike. But now his fleet was in ruins, and the Galactic Empire had been humiliated. How dare they? Zorak roared, slamming his fist against the command console. "These humans will pay for this." Zorak immediately ordered reinforcements from other parts of the Empire to prepare for a full-scale invasion of Earth. The humans had dared to strike first, and now they would face the full wrath of the Empire. This time, there would be no mercy. But as Earth's leaders prepared for the next phase of the conflict, they knew they still had a few more surprises in store. Dr. Pierce had other weapons waiting, and Earth's forces were ready to defend their home. The Empire had thought Earth was weak, but now they were starting to realize the truth. Humans were more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The Galactic Empire was in chaos. News of the attack on their fleet had spread fast, and shockwaves were felt across the galaxy. No one could believe that a small, primitive planet like Earth had managed to destroy a large portion of the Empire's fleet with such a devastating strike. In the grand halls of the Empire's capital, the High Council gathered for an emergency meeting. The room, usually filled with calm discussion and confident planning, now buzzed with panic and confusion. The images of the destroyed ships flashed on the main screen, reminding everyone of the disaster Earth had caused. "Impossible," one of the council members shouted. "How could this happen? We are the Galactic Empire, the most powerful force in the universe. How did Earth, of all planets, do this to us?" Commander Zorak, the leader of the fleet that had been attacked, stood at the center of the room. His face was dark with rage, and his fists were clenched at his sides. He had been humiliated, and in front of the entire Empire, the humans had made a fool of him. "They took us by surprise," Zorak growled. "Their missiles were unlike anything we've seen before. They bypassed our shields as if they weren't even there. The council members looked at each other in disbelief. The Empire had prided itself on having the best technology in the galaxy. Their shields were supposed to be impenetrable. Yet Earth had not only broken through them, but had also destroyed many of their best ships in the process. Emperor Malik, the ruler of the Galactic Empire, sat on his throne at the head of the room, his face hidden in shadow. He had listened in silence as his advisors argued, but now he raised his hand, and the room fell quiet. "This is a disaster," he said in a cold, controlled voice. "We cannot let this stand. The Empire cannot be humiliated by a backwater planet." The council nodded in agreement. They knew what was at stake. The Empire's power was built on fear. Other planets obeyed because they were terrified of what the Empire could do. If Earth could stand up to them, if they could destroy the Empire's fleet, then what would stop other planets from rising up too? "They have given us a taste of their strength," Zorak said bitterly. "But they have not won. We will regroup, we will rebuild our forces, and we will crush Earth beneath our boots." This was just the beginning. But even as Zorak spoke, there was fear in the eyes of some council members. Earth's attack had been so sudden, so unexpected, that it had shaken the very core of their confidence. The Empire had never faced such a bold challenge before, and some were starting to wonder if Earth was more dangerous than they had thought. "How did they develop such weapons?" one of the council members asked quietly. "We have been watching Earth for years. Their technology was nowhere near this level." Dr. Tallow, the Empire's chief scientist, stepped forward. He was a small, nervous man, but his mind was one of the sharpest in the galaxy. He had been studying the data from the attack ever since it happened. "I believe they have been working on these weapons in secret," Dr. Tallow explained. "Earth has always been full of surprises. They are clever, resourceful. They may have used their time wisely to develop weapons in hiding, knowing that the Empire was watching." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. It was hard for the Empire's leaders to admit, but Earth had outsmarted them. The humans had played their cards carefully, waiting for the right moment to strike. "They think they are clever," Zorak snarled, "but we will show them what true power is." Emperor Malik stood, his dark robes flowing around him as he moved. His eyes blazed with anger, but his voice remained calm. "We will not be defeated by Earth," he declared. "This is a minor setback, nothing more. We will gather our forces, strike back harder than before, and make sure that Earth is brought to its knees." But deep down, even Emperor Malik knew that the situation was far more serious than he wanted to admit. Earth had shown that they were not to be underestimated. The humans had not only survived the Empire's demands, but they had also fought back with a strength no one had expected. As the council broke up and the leaders went back to their separate commands, the Empire's forces began to mobilize. Reinforcements were called in from across the galaxy, and new ships were built to replace those that had been lost. But the damage had already been done. The Galactic Empire had been shaken, and the fear that once kept their enemies in line had started to crack. For the first time in their long reign, the Empire was truly afraid. And Earth, far from being weak, had just become the biggest threat the galaxy had ever seen. The Galactic Empire could not let Earth's attack go unpunished. Across their vast territories, the Empire's forces were being called to action. The destruction of the fleet had shocked the galaxy, and now, Emperor Malik was determined to make Earth pay for their boldness. High Commander Zorak had spent the last few days in deep thought, his mind racing with ideas of revenge. He had been humiliated once, and he vowed that it would never happen again. Earth's attack had wounded his pride, and now he was more determined than ever to crush the planet beneath the Empire's might. In the command center of the Empire's largest space station, Zorak stood before a holographic map of the galaxy. His officers gathered around him, waiting for orders. The map highlighted Earth's solar system, and Zorak's eyes burned with fury as he stared at the small blue planet that had dared to challenge the Empire. "We underestimated them once," Zorak growled. "That will not happen again. We will gather the largest fleet the galaxy has ever seen. Earth will be nothing but ash when we are finished." The officers nodded in agreement, but there was tension in the room. Everyone knew that the attack on Earth would not be easy. The humans had proven to be more resourceful than anyone had expected, and their weapons had destroyed much of the Empire's fleet in a matter of minutes. Zorak turned to his second-in-command, Captain Vera, a cold and calculating strategist. She had been studying Earth's defenses closely, and she knew that brute force alone might not be enough to take the planet down. "Captain Vera, your analysis," Zorak ordered, his voice sharp. Vera stepped forward, her face calm but serious. She pulled up a detailed report of Earth's defenses on the holographic screen. "Earth's military is small but highly efficient," Vera began. "They rely on quick, precise strikes. Their technology is more advanced than we previously thought. We cannot afford to underestimate them again. A direct assault could be costly." Zorak frowned. He hated the idea of being cautious. The Empire was used to overpowering its enemies with sheer force. But after Earth's surprise attack, he knew they had to be smart this time. "What do you suggest?" Zorak asked, trying to keep his frustration in check. Vyra pointed to the map of Earth's solar system. "We hit them where they are vulnerable. Their defense systems are strongest around their major cities and military bases, but their space stations and supply routes are less protected. We cut off their resources, weaken their defenses, and then strike when they least expect it." Zorak considered this for a moment. The idea of slowly squeezing Earth, cutting off its lifelines, appealed to him. It would be a slow, painful process for the humans, and that was exactly what he wanted. He wanted them to suffer, to regret ever standing against the Empire. "Very well," Zorak said with a wicked smile. "We will strangle them. Begin assembling the fleet. I want every ship, every soldier ready for battle. We will block their trade routes, destroy their satellites, and isolate them from the rest of the galaxy. By the time we're done, they'll be begging for mercy." As Vera and the officers began coordinating the plans, Zorak's mind wandered back to the destruction of his fleet. The images of his ships being blown apart still haunted him. He had been careless, too confident in the Empire's strength. But now, things would be different. He would not make the same mistake twice. Emperor Malik had given Zorak full authority to deal with Earth. The Empire was furious that a single planet had dared to challenge their rule, and they wanted revenge. Failure was not an option. If Zorak didn't succeed, the Emperor would find someone else who would. But Zorak had no intention of failing. He would crush Earth under the weight of the Empire's full power. He would burn their cities, destroy their armies, and leave nothing but ruins behind. "We will make an example of Earth," Zorak declared. "The rest of the galaxy will see what happens to those who defy us." As the fleet began to gather, news of the Empire's revenge spread across the galaxy. Planets that had once admired Earth's bravery now feared for their survival. If the Empire could destroy Earth, what hope did they have? Back on Earth, the leaders were not blind to what was coming. They knew the Empire would strike back, and they had to be ready. But they also knew something the Empire didn't. Earth had more weapons, more surprises waiting, and when the time was right, they would unleash them. The Empire was planning revenge, but Earth was not finished fighting. This war was just beginning. The warning signs were clear. Earth's leaders knew that the Empire would not accept their victory quietly. After their surprise attack on the Empire's fleet, Earth had bought themselves time, but not peace. The Empire would return, and when they did, they would bring their full force. In the heart of Earth's defense headquarters, known as Command Center Alpha, the mood was tense. Top military leaders, scientists, and government officials were gathered around a massive holographic display of Earth and the surrounding solar system. They all knew the same thing: war was coming. General Marcus, the head of Earth's military forces, stood at the center of the room. His face was grim, his sharp eyes scanning the data in front of him. He was a man who had seen war before, but this time, the stakes were higher than ever. "The Empire will come for us," General Marcus said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. "We've hit them hard, but we're far from safe. We need to prepare for their retaliation." Around the room, Earth's best minds were hard at work. Engineers were improving the planet's defenses, scientists were analyzing the enemy's technology, and soldiers were gearing up for the battle that was sure to come. "Our shields need to be stronger," said Dr. Lang, a leading scientist in Earth's defense research. "The Empire's weapons are powerful, and while we were able to surprise them before, we can't rely on the same tactics. We need to upgrade our defensive systems." General Marcus nodded. "Make it a priority. We have to make sure that when they attack, our cities and military bases can hold out. What about our space defenses?" Colonel Reyes, the commander in charge of Earth's space fleet, stepped forward. "We've got all available ships patrolling the outer reaches of the solar system. We're also positioning more satellites and defense stations. If the Empire tries to enter our territory, we'll know about it immediately." The room was buzzing with activity. Earth was preparing like never before. Factories were working around the clock to build more ships, weapons, and defense systems. Every country on Earth had come together, setting aside their differences to face the common enemy. In a hidden underground bunker, special teams were working on Earth's most secret weapon projects. The humans had learned a lot from the Empire's technology, and now they were using that knowledge to create even more advanced weapons. Missiles that could travel faster than light, energy shields that could withstand even the strongest blasts, and drones that could swarm enemy ships. All of these were being developed in record time. President Katherine Evans, the leader of Earth's united government, addressed the world in a broadcast. Her image appeared on every screen, from city squares to remote villages. "We are at the brink of war," President Evans said, her voice calm but firm. "The Galactic Empire will not stop until they have destroyed us or enslaved us. But we will not back down. We will fight for our survival, for our freedom, and for the future of our planet." Her speech rallied the people of Earth. Across the globe, civilians were volunteering to help in any way they could. Some signed up for military service, while others worked in factories, building the ships and weapons needed for the war. Even scientists and engineers were doing their part, coming up with new ways to defend Earth from the Empire's attacks. In secret bunkers beneath the surface of the planet, Earth's top military strategists were working on their war plans. They knew the Empire was vast, with resources far beyond anything Earth could match. But Earth had something the Empire didn't expect: creativity, determination, and a fighting spirit that could not be broken. "We've always been good at adapting," General Marcus said to his team. "We're not the strongest or the most advanced species, but we know how to survive. The Empire thinks they can crush us easily, but they have no idea what we're capable of." Earth had prepared its forces, but the most powerful weapon they had was their will to fight. The humans had been underestimated before, and that had been the Empire's biggest mistake. Now, as they prepared for the coming war, Earth's leaders were confident that they could outsmart and outlast their enemy. In the depths of space, Earth's fleet was growing. Every day, new ships were added to the Armada. Pilots were being trained, and soldiers were readying themselves for the toughest fight of their lives. The humans knew that the war would be brutal, but they were ready. Earth wasn't just preparing to defend itself, they were preparing to strike back. The Empire had no idea what was coming. The Galactic Empire's time had come. After weeks of careful planning and mobilizing their forces, the Empire was ready to exact their revenge on Earth. The massive fleet, now fully assembled and equipped, moved silently through the vastness of space, heading toward their target. The Empire's flagship, the Indomitable, led the way. Its dark, imposing silhouette cut through the stars, a symbol of the Empire's might. On board, Emperor Malik paced the command deck, his eyes burning with anticipation. He had waited for this moment, and now it was time to crush Earth's defiance. "Report. the Emperor demanded, his voice echoing through the room. Commander Zorak, standing beside him, nodded. Our fleet is in position. The sensors have picked up Earth's defensive structures. They are ready, but we outnumber them significantly. Their defenses will be overwhelmed. Emperor Malik's face remained stoic. Make sure the attack is swift and decisive. We cannot afford to give them any chance to regroup. As the Empire's fleet approached Earth's solar system, the alert system on Earth's command center Alpha blared. The screens lit up with red warning lights, and the room fell into immediate action. Earth's forces were ready, but the scale of the Empire's assault was unlike anything they had faced before. General Marcus and his team watched as the holographic map showed the Empire's ships closing in on their position. They're here, he said grimly. Prepare for battle. The space around Earth was filled with tension. Earth's defensive satellites and space stations were activated, their weapons systems targeting the incoming fleet. Ships of Earth's armada moved into formation, ready to intercept the enemy. The planet's defenses were stretched thin, but they were determined to hold their ground. The Empire struck with overwhelming force. The first wave of attacks hit Earth's outer defenses, exploding in bright bursts of light. The Empire's ships unleashed their most powerful weapons, cutting through Earth's shields and causing massive damage. In the command center, chaos reigned. Officers shouted orders, and screens flickered with images of explosions and damage reports. The outer defenses are holding, but barely, Colonel Reyes reported. We need to get more ships out there. General Marcus, focused and resolute, gave the order. Send out our reserve fleet. We need to push them back and protect our cities. Every ship counts. As the reserve fleet launched, Earth's space stations and defensive structures fought back with all they had. Missiles flew through space, colliding with the Empire's ships and causing sparks and explosions. Despite the onslaught, Earth's defenders fought bravely, determined not to let their planet fall. On the surface of Earth, cities were in a state of emergency. People were evacuating from danger zones, and military units were preparing to defend key locations. The Empire's assault had begun, and the fighting was fierce. In the heart of the Empire's fleet, the Indomitable remained a key target. The flagship moved in close to Earth's orbit, its massive weapons targeting the planet's major defense centers. Emperor Malik watched with satisfaction as his fleet wreaked havoc, but he knew the battle was far from over. We've hit them hard, Zorak reported. Their defenses are weakening, but they're putting up a strong fight. We need to press the attack and break their resolve. The Empire's fleet continued to advance, pressing the attack with relentless force. Earth's forces were struggling to hold their lines, but their bravery and resilience were evident. The fight was tough, and each side took heavy losses. In the midst of the battle, General Marcus made a crucial decision. We need to use our new weapons, deploy the advanced drones and missile systems. It's time to show the Empire what we're really capable of. As Earth's advanced weapons systems activated, the tide of battle began to shift. The drones swarmed the Empire's ships, their precision strikes causing significant damage. New missiles, designed to pierce through even the toughest shields, found their targets and exploded with devastating effect. The Empire's fleet, caught off guard by this new level of resistance, started to falter. Ships that had once been invincible now faced serious damage, and the Empire's commanders began to realize that Earth was not as easy to defeat as they had hoped. Emperor Malik's expression turned from triumph to frustration. The battle was not going as smoothly as he had anticipated. Earth's unexpected strength and new technology were proving to be a serious challenge. This isn't over, Malik said, his voice cold. We will break their defenses. We will make them submit. Increase the pressure. The battle raged on, and the fight for Earth continued. The Empire had struck back with fury, but Earth's defenders were holding strong. The outcome of this epic conflict was far from certain, and both sides knew that the war was far from over. The battle for Earth had reached its climax. The once silent void of space was now filled with the sounds of warfare. Both sides had taken heavy losses, but Earth's defenders were showing remarkable resilience. The Empire's massive fleet was facing fierce resistance, and Earth's forces were determined to hold their ground. General Marcus watched from the command center as the holographic map displayed the ongoing battle. His face was set with grim determination. "Our new weapons are making a difference," he said to his team. "We need to keep the pressure on them. We can't let up now." Colonel Reyes, coordinating the fleet's movements, nodded. "Our drones and advanced missiles are hitting their targets. The Empire's ships are taking heavy damage. We're pushing them back." The battle was fierce. Earth's forces were fighting with everything they had. The new technology they had developed was proving effective, and the Empire's once formidable fleet was beginning to falter. Explosions lit up the dark expanse of space as Earth's missiles struck enemy ships, and the Empire's warships were forced into retreat. On the surface, the situation was tense but hopeful. Cities that had been under threat were now seeing a glimmer of relief. The Empire's attack had caused significant damage, but Earth's defense systems were holding up. The people of Earth were rallying behind their military, showing incredible unity and determination. In the midst of the chaos, President Katherine Evans addressed the world once more. Her message was broadcast across the globe, her voice filled with pride and hope. "Our brave soldiers and defenders have fought with unmatched courage. We are standing strong against the Empire's aggression. This is our moment to show that we will not be defeated." As the president spoke, the tide of the battle continued to turn. The Empire's fleet, battered and bruised, was struggling to maintain its offensive. Earth's forces were relentless, and their counterattacks were starting to push the Empire's ships out of their orbit. In the command center, General Marcus saw the moment of opportunity. "They're on the run," he said. "We need to strike decisively, launch the final offensive, and push them out of our system." The order was given, and Earth's fleet moved in for the final assault. The remaining Empire ships, now outnumbered and outgunned, were forced to retreat. The once mighty Indomitable, the flagship of the Empire, was heavily damaged and drifting away from the battlefield. The Empire's forces were in disarray, and their retreat was turning into a rout. Commander Zorik, aboard the Indomitable, watched in frustration as his fleet was pushed back. His once proud ships were being defeated, and the realization of their loss was sinking in. "Withdraw," Zorik ordered, his voice strained. "We're falling back. Prepare for emergency exit." The remaining Empire ships began to retreat, their damaged vessels limping away from Earth's solar system. Earth's defenders watched as the enemy fleet disappeared into the darkness of space. The battle was won, and the threat of the Empire's immediate aggression had been repelled. As the dust settled, Earth's people began to celebrate their victory. The damage had been significant, but the planet had survived. The fight had been tough, but the unity and strength of Earth's defenders had made all the difference. General Marcus, standing with his team, let out a sigh of relief. "We did it," he said. "We've held our ground and shown the Empire that Earth will not be easily defeated." President Evans addressed the world again, her voice filled with hope. "Today we have defended our planet and our freedom. The Empire came to conquer, but they found a force that would not yield. We have shown that humanity is strong, united, and capable of great things. Let this victory be a reminder of what we can achieve when we stand together." The celebration that followed was a testament to the strength and resilience of Earth's people. The battle had been fierce, and the cost had been high, but Earth had emerged victorious. The Empire's defeat was a clear message to the galaxy that Earth would not be conquered. It was a victory for humanity, a triumph of courage and determination against overwhelming odds. As Earth's defenders looked up at the stars, they knew that the future remained uncertain. The galaxy was a vast and dangerous place, and more challenges lay ahead. But for now, they could take pride in their victory and look forward to rebuilding and strengthening their planet. The war with the Galactic Empire had ended, But the spirit of Earth's people was stronger than ever. They had faced the ultimate test and had come through with their heads held high. The galaxy had learned a powerful lesson. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with.